This is a major update. The Knicks are actively searching for center options, with training camp being a few weeks away. And according to these reports, they are looking for options on the trade market and also on the free agency market. We're going to break down these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. New York is actively searching for backup center depth. Recently, the Knicks added Landry, Shamet, and Marcus Morris Sr. to Exhibit 9 deals to this team. Obviously, those deals are not guaranteed. That means the Knicks still have that final roster spot open and remaining. Now, if you look at the Knicks' entire roster, you can clearly see they have a major need at the center position because it's rumored that Mitchell Robinson could miss the start of the regular season for New York. If that happens, the Knicks are only going to have two options at center, Precious Achiuwa and Jericho Sims. And that is not enough for a team with championship aspirations like New York. They're going to have to make another addition here. And the only way to do it, if you're not going to do it via trade, is to do it on the free agency market. And according to Steph Bondy with the New York Post, that's exactly what he said the New York Knicks are doing at this point in time. According to Bondy, he states, with training camp in 2 weeks, they are still in the picture for a backup center. And apparently, so is Randle. More on that in a second, at least in spurts. The Knicks front office, according to multiple NBA sources, has also been actively searching for center options on the free agent and trade markets. This is music to my ears. We know the Knicks are going to need another center on this team. Mitchell Robinson's likely going to miss the season opener. If that happens, you need more depth on this team. You need more insurance. And getting another player, either via trade or on the free agency market, that's a smart decision from the Knicks and Leon Rose. And I don't think the Knicks are going to make a trade at this point in time. I think they're going to look at the free agency market and add a center from there to this team and definitely work them out with this roster via training camp. I do not think the Knicks go into training camp without adding another big to this roster. And clearly, according to Steph Bondy here, the Knicks are actively searching for center options at this point in time. And if they're doing so on the free agency market, there's not that many options available. According to Ian Begley, he recently reported that you have to think the Knicks are at least considering veteran bigs like JaVale McGee and Bismack Biyombo. Maybe they sign a veteran before the start of training camp. Now, another reason you target a veteran center on the free agent market is because you know going into training camp, you're going to be missing your starting center in Mitchell Robinson. Let's not forget, even though Robinson is rumored to be missing the start of the regular season for the Knicks, we've known for weeks that Robinson's not going to be available for training camp for New York. That means the Knicks need another big body in camp that they can rely on to take contact, run offensive and defensive schemes, and make sure they understand their role on the team. This is a perfect way for anybody they sign to that final roster spot to further understand their role and what they're going to need to do under Tom Thibodeau and the way he runs the Knicks. And that's something that is meaningful. That's why I wish Mitchell Robinson was not going to miss camp. But if he is, then give that opportunity to somebody else. And again, I'm not saying that takes away from Jericho Sims. If anything, this lights a fire under Jericho Sims to make him compete even more in camp, because everybody wants to see Jericho Sims reach that next level, take that next step. Guess what? The only way for him to do that is to be pushed. And if he has a lot of competition at camp, that's going to be a motivating factor for him in order for him to do that. So this is another reason for the Knicks to consider adding a big before heading into training camp. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Steph Bondy continues in his article by stating, Mitchell Robinson is the starter, but injury prone after undergoing multiple surgeries, most recently on his ankle. The backups are Jericho Sims, who is unproven but athletically gifted, and undersized Precious Achiuwa, who is viewed more as a power forward by the Knicks. Now, Tom Thibodeau recently made waves when he made an announcement stating that the Knicks were going to go small, and in doing so, he potentially could play Randle at center for 10 to 15 minutes a night. And according to Bondi, pounding with centers in the paint on a surgically repaired shoulder, as Thibodeau implied, is dangerous, especially for a player without a contract extension in Julius Randle. Randle has been eligible for a 4-year, $181.5 million contract extension since early August, but there's been no movement toward an agreement. And according to Ian Bagley, there's likely not going to be any movement toward an agreement because the Knicks and Julius Randle do not have this contract extension in the forefront of their minds. The fact that Steph Bondi just confirmed it, the fact that we heard Tom Thibodeau basically state that Julius Randle will play some time at the center position, at least 10 to 15 minutes, tells you everything you need to know about how the Knicks view Precious Achiuwa. They see him more as a power forward, not as a center. Now, does that mean he's not going to play any minutes for the Knicks next season at the center position? Obviously not. He's likely going to play some minutes at that position, depending on foul trouble, who the Knicks are facing, who the Knicks have available that night. It's going to be a number of factors that lead Tom Thibodeau to make that decision. But you best believe that is going to be an option. But Julius Randle playing the 5, that's also going to be an option. These are the options you have to consider when your center options are Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, and Jericho Sims. Jericho Sims, we have no idea what his role is going to be for the Knicks next season. Precious Achiuwa, he's likely going to be part of the Knicks rotation, but what part? Backup power forward, backup center, a combination of both? We're going to have to wait and see exactly how Tom Thibodeau utilizes him. And then with Julius Randle, we already know he's going to play the bulk of his minutes at the power forward position, but he's also going to play a few minutes at the center position depending on need. I don't think that Tom Thibodeau is just going to roll that lineup out there just as he sees fit. He's going to do so if the Knicks need to go to it. And the only reason the Knicks are going to need to go to it, if they're down in the game, if it's going to be used to take advantage of what the opposition is giving you, because maybe their 5 cannot stop Julius Randle playing the 5 on offense. And then on defense, as I said, you switch to OG Anunoby, and then he guards them. And that's something I wish and hope the Knicks are going to do. Now, Tom Thibodeau didn't exactly state how he's going to utilize OG Anunoby and Julius Randle at the center position. He didn't really say he was going to switch between the two. But honestly, for me, that's the only way to utilize those two, because Randle is better than OG on offense as the center, and OG is way better than Randle on defense as the center. So if you combine those two skill sets together, you kind of make an elite center. And that's exactly what the Knicks are going to need to have in their bag when you have options like Mitchell Robinson, Jericho Sims, and Precious Achiuwa at your center options. And even though the Knicks are planning to go small, and we could see OG Anunoby and Julius Randle share time at the center position, we also understand that the Knicks are still actively searching for center options because they know, even though they can go to that plan, they don't want to actively go there. They would rather go to a player that is a natural center that can play minutes at that position for them. And that's why they're looking for a center right now. And the only option that's a viable option, in my opinion, and Ian Bagley already said it, is Bismack Biyombo. Defensively, he fits Tom Thibodeau. He's a veteran. He can understand his role on this team very quickly. He's somebody you want in training camp because if he understands Tom Thibodeau's defense right off the bat, then he's absolutely going to be somebody you need in training camp because he's the best and closest thing you're going to have to Mitchell Robinson. I'm not saying he's the same as Mitchell Robinson, but he can rebound, he can block shots, and he can do everything a Tom Thibodeau defense would ask of him. Obviously, he's older, so he can't do it for 25 minutes or 30 minutes a night. But if you need him as a backup center for 15 to 20 minutes a night, I think he can definitely give that to you. And if Mitchell Robinson's only going to be able to give you 25 minutes a night, this might be a good combination for the Knicks to have. And then for the other minutes you need, you use a combination of Julius Randle and OG Anunoby. In that way, everybody wins. Tom Thibodeau gets to go small. Every Knicks fan who wants to see that gets happy because of that. All the fans who want the Knicks to go after a center get a center in Bismack Biyombo. Again, Not the best name, not the greatest player to add to this team, but as of right now, the best free agent to add with the money we have available. We still have access to the MLE, and honestly, he might not cost the full MLE. He might be half of that. He might be a veteran's minimum, if that. So if the Knicks are able to get him at that cost and save money in the process, it's even more of an incentive to add Bismack to this team. And I hope that's the direction Leon Rose and this Knicks front office is leaning toward. And if they're looking at the free agent market, honestly, that's the only direction to lean toward. You're not going to go after JaVale McGee. You're not going to go after somebody who really can't contribute on any level to an NBA team right now. If he could, a former champion like that, you think he wouldn't be rostered at this point? He's not rostered because the league knows what we all know. JaVale is washed. Now, you might be saying, isn't Bismack washed too? Maybe he's getting to a level where he's going to be considered washed. But right now, he's not washed. If anything, he can play an important role for this team, not only in training camp, but off the bench when we need him. The Knicks have to understand we don't have a lot of options to consider right now. And when you're limited in options, you have to look at the field. And the field is saying, sign Bismack Biyombo. And this has the calling card of a Leon Rose move, because making the Knicks better at an extremely low cost, that's what Leon Rose has done each and every single time. Even if you want to criticize some of the trades he's made, most of the time, he's made moves that have been low cost that have helped the Knicks. And right now, I believe he's going to do the exact same thing again. But what about you guys? What do you think about these recent reports indicating that the Knicks front office is actively, currently searching for center options on the free agent and trade markets? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.